In real-time strategy games, your attention is split in every direction. You're managing bases, building armies, scouting the map, and reacting to threats. All at once. That's where sound comes in.
For the Emperor!
Good audio design in an RTS isn't just about atmosphere. It's about survival. Unit barks, attack alerts, and building queues. All of it is there to help you process chaos without needing to see it. But it's not just functional. RTS sound design also hits hard emotionally. It gives units personality.
What is it?
It sells the scale of battle. It makes every decision feel more impactful.
You are victorious.
So today, we're breaking down why RTS audio doesn't just sound good, it slaps. In RTS games, you're doing 10 things at once, and the game does not care if you're overwhelmed. You're building your base, managing your economy, scouting the map, teching up, and oh look, you're getting flanked by a massive army. There's no pause, no turn order, no let me check real quick. You gotta keep up, and that's where sound comes in. Audio is your second brain in an RTS. A lot of the time, you're hearing what's happening before you actually see it. You hear, "We're under attack!" and your brain instantly goes into fight mode. It's faster than looking around the map, and it's designed that way on purpose. Like, think about Age of Empires. When a villager finishes chopping wood, you get that crisp little clunk. When a building's done, there's a satisfying chime. If your scout finds something sketchy, boom. You get a warning tone that's totally different from the one you hear when someone's nuking your town center. The game sorts what matters by how it sounds. StarCraft is another great example. You don't need to look at a siege tank to know it's deployed. You hear that clunky metal slam. Same with a Zerg. You hear that gross, wet, fleshy squish, and you know something fast and ugly is headed your way. Everything sounds like what it is, and you can instantly tell what's going on without needing to hover over a tooltip. And here's the wild part. All of those sounds are designed to not clash with each other. Even in the middle of a giant fight, with explosions going off and spells flying everywhere, you can still pick out the important stuff. That's more than good sound design. That's smart design. A lot of newer RTS games miss this. They go for big, cinematic sound design that might sound awesome on its own, but during gameplay, it just turns into mush. You lose track of what's happening, and that's a problem when the whole genre is built around awareness and control. When RTS audio is done right, it's basically invisible UI. It tells you everything you need to know without making you think about it. And honestly, you don't even realize how much you're relying on it until it's not there. One of the big reasons people still remember RTS games decades later isn't just the mechanics or the strategy, it's the personality, primarily done through the characterization of the units. Take Warcraft 3. You tell a peasant to build something, and he sounds like he hardly has 2 brain cells to put together.
Off I go then.
Meanwhile, the Footman sounds like an over-enthusiastic cosplayer.
Yes, my liege.
The orcs sound brutal, the undead sound creepy, and the night elves sound like they're too cool to be taking orders from anyone. It didn't affect gameplay at all, but it made the game stick in our imaginations. Blizzard nailed this better than most. Their games didn't just work well, they sounded great. Each faction had its own vibe, its own tone. You could tell exactly who you were playing or fighting just from the voices alone, and they were iconic. You still remember,
Highlight for hire.
or
You must construct additional pylons.
you probably remember them better than some lines from games that actually had voice-acted cutscenes. Even the goofier stuff worked, like when you spam-click a unit and they start telling you to stop poking them.
Me busy. Leave me alone.
That's legendary. No one asked for that, but they added it anyway because they cared. That kind of polish sticks with people. And yeah, while we're giving credit, let's be real. The GOAT of RTS voice lines might actually be Stronghold Crusader.
Oh, yes! I bet now you're worried.
The barks in that game absolutely burned into our skulls forever.
Warning, your lordship.
Even more serious games understood this. Command & Conquer had that gritty Cold War energy. The Soviets barked like hardened military lifers. The Allies were cool and clinical. Same with Homeworld. The calm, low-effort radio chatter in that game perfectly matched the scale and isolation of space. It sounded like people were really out there, alone, on the edge of the galaxy. RTS games don't give you a protagonist to latch onto like an RPG. The characters are your units, your buildings, your army. That's where the flavor comes from. The voice lines are what make them feel real, or at least real enough. At the end of the day, it's just good design. Smart, intentional audio that gives the game character and identity and keeps it living in your head long after the match is over. Here's the thing about RTS games. You're way zoomed out, commanding tiny units from a bird's eye view. You don't get cinematic angles or flashy animations to sell the action. So how do you make battles feel powerful when everything looks small? You make it sound massive. RTS combat depends on audio. When a fight kicks off, it's the sound that gives it weight. Explosions, spells, gunfire, siege weapons. If those don't hit hard, the entire battle feels weak. Take StarCraft 2. A siege tank entering siege mode sounds like a steel beast locking into place. When it fires, it's not some muted thud. It's a heavy, mechanical boom that punches through the rest of the fight. You don't have to look at it. You hear it and immediately know something got wrecked. The Zerg are a different story. Their audio is disgusting in the best possible way. From the Zergling to the Ultralisk to the structures themselves, the entire faction oozes with grotesque design. Then you've got Dawn of War, which might have some of the most intense battlefield sound design in any RTS. Bolter fire sounds brutal. Units don't just fall over, they yell, scream, and die loudly. The battlefield sounds like it's chewing people up. It's not clean, it's violent and chaotic. And that's exactly what you want from a game about massive sci-fi warfare. Even Age of Empires, which is way more grounded, has this solid crunch when trebuchets hit buildings. It's not flashy, but it's satisfying. You hear destruction, you hear progress, and it makes those slow siege pushes feel earned. This stuff matters, because RTS doesn't give you the luxury of close-up feedback. You're removed from the action, but the sound pulls you back in. It turns commands into consequences. When you attack, it should feel like you just kicked the door down, not like you just moved some numbers on a spreadsheet. That's what good sound design does. It makes your decisions feel heavy. It turns abstract units into a real army. And when the audio hits just right, it doesn't just sound cool, it makes the whole battle feel real. RTS soundtracks don't get enough credit. They're not flashy or dramatic like a big RPG score, but they do a lot of heavy lifting without getting in your face. When you're playing a strategy game, the music isn't just background noise. It sets the pace. It keeps you focused, and it has to do all that while looping for 30 minutes or more. That's not easy. If it's too intense, it gets annoying. If it's too boring, it fades out completely. The best RTS music finds a middle ground that just feels right. Take Red Alert. Hell March is iconic for a reason. It hits you with this intense, industrial rhythm that instantly says, "All right, it's go time." Whether you're building up your base or marching a line of tanks across the map, that track makes everything feel more important. Now compare that to Age of Empires. The vibe is totally different. It's more relaxed, with soft percussion and ancient instruments. The music feels grounded and historical. It's not trying to pump you up. It's trying to immerse you in the feeling of slowly building a civilization from the ground up. And it works. StarCraft takes it even further with faction-specific themes. Terran music feels rugged and mechanical. Zerg music is creepy and organic. Protoss tracks are mysterious and otherworldly. You could mute the screen and still know what race you're playing based on the soundtrack alone. The best part is, most of this music was never meant to be front and center. It's not trying to steal your attention. It's there to keep you locked into the game, whether you're booming your economy or microing a last-ditch defense. Good RTS music knows when to stay out of the way and when to lean in and raise the tension. You probably didn't notice it when you were in the middle of a match, but years later, when you hear one of those tracks again, it hits you. You remember exactly how it felt to play that game. That's when you realize how much the soundtrack actually mattered. So yeah, RTS audio kinda rules. It doesn't just sound good for the sake of sounding good. It's working constantly in the background to keep you focused, to pull you into the world, and to make sure you actually feel what's happening on screen. Whether it's unit barks, explosions, soundtracks, or just the tiny clicks and alerts that guide your decisions, it's all part of the experience. It's one of those things you don't think about until it's gone. You play a game where the audio falls flat, and suddenly the whole thing just feels lifeless. But when it hits right, even a top-down pixel army feels alive.
Swordsman! Attack!
If you're making an RTS, or even just thinking about what makes a good one, don't sleep on the sound. It's the glue that holds everything together. And if you're just someone who grew up with these games and still remembers every zug zug and "can't place that there, my lord," well, you get it.